Hello there. Hi, Kelly. How are
Hi
you?
there. Hi, James. I'm
Hi,
good.
hi, everybody. Well, life after death and beyond with myself, James M. Praagh, and Kelly White,
Hi,
uh,
everybody.
partners in crime here. And this was we're taping this now. This has been a Mother's Day weekend. So, Kelly, how was your weekend? First of all,
Oh, first of all, we taught a starseeds class, and it was so fun Friday night. It was so
yes.
great.
And what did you
Wonderful.
cover in star seeds?
Well, we covered what are star seeds. What everybody's a star seed. We covered different dimensions, different places, and then Janelle Campbell, who taught it with me, did an incredible channeling and then a great meditation. It was just fabulous. It was a wonderful week. And for Mother's Day, I
Yes.
got to stay in. It was so fun. I gardened and I made rhubarb margaritas.
Oh, good for you. Yes, you sent me a picture of that. I
They were
wanted them.
so delicious.
Oh, that's fantastic. I went out camping with some friends.
You went camping?
I went camping, and yes, down by the beach, and there was a whole day of it with a family, friends I know, and we had a wonderful time. Really great
Wow.
time. It was really fun. So,
Wow. Was it
yeah.
a glamping or camping?
No, it was camping, but it was like I
Wow.
went to visit them at the campsite. Well, it was only one day they did it, but it was yeah, a lot of food and tri-tip, and
Wow.
really, and over the ocean, the Pacific Ocean. It was very nice. So we're gonna do the show today, a very special show. We're doing past lives. So before we get to that, Kelly, I know it's been we're taping this right now. It is May the 13th, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
Mhm.
it's 2020. And Kelly, I think astrologically things are getting a little crazy. So why don't you
Yes.
do a little bit of astrology for everybody?
I would love to. I'd love to do some astrology. So, everybody, and James, this is, you can start to feel the energy, right? It's
Oh, yes.
starting to get intense. And as of today, of May 13th, Uranus, which is the planet of shock and surprise, and the sun conjunct. And when they conjunct, they come together, and they're coming together in Vedic astrology, is what I'm talking about, at 29 degrees of Aries. That makes this very, very intense. And this lasts until, well, it's going to last for a couple of weeks here. We've got a very intense time for a couple of weeks. But today is a very potent day with energy. It brings a lot of fateful situations, and it can also have a lot of rapid shifts that happen too. So you can feel this kind of, I don't know, it's kind of an unexpected energy or a restlessness.
Yeah.
Have you felt that, James? It's kind of like a
Very much so. And yeah, it changes on a dime for sure. And
changes on a
is it,
dime.
and with this energy, you have to do anything with that Aries connection there? Would it be anything with karma from other lifetimes?
Oh, it's a great question. Oh, I have to believe
Thanks.
that it does. You know what, James?
I feel like
Yes.
it does. I don't know. I just feel
Well,
like karma from other lifetimes is being met really strongly at this moment. I feel.
yes, and I would agree with that statement because we have all of us have a lot of well, we come in with a lot of baggage, right? When we're born, we come in with a lot of things that go on, and what happens astrologically is a lot of things are highlighted, so
Mhm.
you can work through things. But
Well,
yeah,
certain aspects, Kelly, like you say, highly, which I think is great, highlighted, like might be a family situation that happens at that
yes,
particular time, or might be
yes,
a financial situation at a time, or might
yes.
be right, and that's highlighted in these certain aspects. Is that would that be fair to
That
say?
is correct. And it could be a political time. It could be the government time. It can be because this is conjunct the sun, and the sun happens to do with leaders. So it could be this is a very not an easy time, I'm gonna say that. Now
Yeah, and Aries
tomorrow,
rules war as well, right? Aries is a
yes, and I'm gonna get to that because this is just the beginning time of what I'm about to talk about. But
okay.
on the 14th in Vedic astrology, the sun moves into Taurus. And the sun represents our soul. And so tomorrow is a day on the 14th, if you're watching, it's a really amazing day actually to bring new opportunities for your soul's purpose. It helps to align you with your soul's purpose. And it's actually said that Lord Vishnu comes down on this date to offer miracles for humanity, which we need right now.
And Kelly,
It's
going back to that thing I was asking about the karma, would
mhm.
tomorrow be a good day then to, I don't know how we could say this, not alleviate karma, but help with the progression of balance or wholeness?
Yes. Oh, it really would be because it's a day to look at your life in the blessings and
Yeah.
look at and be kind to one another. I mean, really,
Yeah.
humanity is going to be going through some shifts now. So I
Yeah.
think everybody needs to be kind to everybody.
Yeah, for sure.
This is the special time, I'll say. And then when we get to May 17th, Mercury is going to exactly square Pluto. And Pluto is retrograde. And when Mercury squares it, this is on May 17th, this Mercury will be affecting communication, transportation, travel, electronics. This is a very powerful day on that May 17th.
And it's not Mercury retrograde, is it?
Not retrograde. No,
Isn't that amazing?
it is. But Mercury is in Aries. And again, Aries, independent,
Impulsive,
headstrong.
Yeah.
So this could be a very, again, we're headed into this, what I would say, a very challenging time period.
Yeah.
And then
you
can feel it.
Level. Oh yeah, on an intuitive level. There's I don't know why I keep on getting this. It's so funny when I do the show with you here, and it's like I get an unfolding of certain aspects of our reality that we thought was real or thought that was there, but then there's an unfolding of newness, an unfolding of a new reality which we've never experienced before.
Yes, and I love the way you just said that, the unfolding of it, which goes back to, James, a lot of past karma, past lives. Yeah. It does. Everything goes back. Wow. So yes, you're right on with this. May 18th. Now, May 18th and May 19th is a very, I would say, if we were looking at the most intense times, it would be May 18th and May 19th, because Mars, the planet of war, is conjunct Rahu, meaning next to Rahu, and Rahu expands Mars. It expands it. Now, in Vedic astrology, it's in Pisces, and it also at the same time is transiting over the eclipse degree of 25 degrees. So when I say this is a very challenging time, because Rahu is the north node in Western astrology, and it represents our destiny, James.
Where we're going to.
And our future, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is now on a high vibration. We could say it could be a combination of inspiring leadership. But in a lower vibration, it could bring violence and aggressive and explosive events. So it's a very powerful time. So I want everybody to pay attention. So watch arguments and strive for patience, because you want to maintain harmony during these times.
And be careful driving. I don't know why I just got that hit, but be careful driving at this time.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you why, because it brings sudden bursts of anger this time, James, to people. And it also makes relationships can be unstable. And so you want to really watch your arguments. You really want to, this would be a time for peace. You want to just think peaceful thoughts.
Well, everybody, let's think peaceful.
Pretty intense.
And move on to that, because, let's see what happens. And it's coming up the end of this week. Wow.
Yeah, it's coming up.
And I did a Mother's Day event on Friday. It went really, really well for children that passed over for mothers. It was a really great demonstration, I must say, of communication with different types of children who, it was just so wonderful. I got to say, really enjoyed that. And I'm doing another demonstration this Friday, May 17th. I'm doing that. So if anyone's interested, you can sign up at Praagh.com, and we have some seats open there. So it's really an interesting time. I don't ask a lot of what's going on, but I don't know. It's very connected, and I'm very connected to those realms. It just feels easier for me.
Yeah. Oh, it is. Well, you are. And I'll tell you, your event on Friday had been very healing for
it was healing for everyone. Yeah. And even me, which we're going to talk about today with the past lives, there was a message that came through. It was very interesting, Kelly. And the spirit said, and I'd never heard this in my 40 years of doing this, that Mom, you gave me the genetic structure from me that I needed to have in life. That genetic structure it was almost like aspects of the soul that soul needed in this lifetime. And Mom, you gave me that. You gave me so much. I had my plate full with various aspects you gave me, and it was a creative or a mental or whatever it was. It was very interesting how they put it that way. It was almost like stardust, and that the mother's genetic makeup, of course. And that's what happens before we come back to the incarnation. If we can go back, we can go into our topic, which is past lives tonight. And my belief, Kelly, and might be different with you, but before we come back to the incarnation, I do believe that we meet with our teachers and our guides and our our counsel, if you will. We can call it many things. And we set up our destiny points, a plot point. It's almost like setting up a play structure.
Yeah.
And we look at all of our lessons we have to come back to learn in this upcoming life. And we figure those out with our guides. And we also figure it out with the karma, if you will,
Mm-hmm.
or lessons we have to do with our family and our friends. So I believe it's more of like, well, not only individually are we coming back to learn and to grow, but we also learn and grow with our soul group, if you will.
Absolutely. Yes, that is absolutely my belief. And depending on what we also come in to learn, we may come in from a past life and have all kinds of, like in our case, James, we probably have been mediums and psychic for many, many, many lifetimes. And then brought it into this lifetime.
I think we perfect it in each lifetime, perfect our skill set, if you will. And I know with myself, I had many lifetimes in, service of humankind as far as religious, missionary. I was a monk, nun. I did all that. I remember one very, very clearly where I was a monk, and it was, I was thinking 1600s. And I was in a long hallway. It was nighttime. I saw cobblestones. It was the brown friar kind of costume. And I was translating Bible. I was translating with the feather quill. And it was an oil lamp. And I was translating. I remember it. And I was looking at myself in the back, observing that. And I think it was really interesting because I got to understand spirituality through the transcriptions. And I, of course, really was born Catholic, right? Raised Catholic. And I think that it came up to that because of my past lives. And then of the service, I've chosen to do this work now because I don't know. I think, like you say, we work up to things, our skill set, we perfect things in the lifetime.
And especially in a previous life, if you had had a lot of religious training, in each life, you would have learned something new. And we always come back, and we don't have to come back to the same place. I mean, we might have a life in India. We might have a life in the United States. We may have a life in France.
100%.
Of course, we could. I mean, if we're just talking about on Earth, a life on Earth.
That's right. That's right.
I mean, I have to say it like that. If our soul contract is with Earth, we might just keep coming back and coming back.
Yeah, and there are things also, everyone, that when you have your pre-life, when when you set things up, you will choose the race that you get into, that what you look like, the race that you're in. And that, again, has to do, I think, with karma, of course, but also it's how you can potentially complete the lessons you have to complete, being an Asian person, being a Black person, being a white person. You come back with that ancestry. There are many factors involved. Ancestry, the lessons you have to learn. I've heard that someone comes back a very good-looking person because that way they can get out there more and meet people or have a certain, if you will, certain experiences in life that they wouldn't have if they didn't look that way. So
it's not just, but it's funny that you would say that because just because somebody even looked more beautiful or whatever, they may actually have some of the harder lessons.
Correct.
Because there could be all kinds of sexual abuse that goes on. There could be all kinds of issues behind the scenes with that.
And Kelly, I think we should make it very clear to people too that we are here to learn and we are here to grow. And there are lessons that we're spiritual lessons, if you will, because we all have to remember that we are a soul first, a soul having a human experience. And that's really, we're souls, and we'll leave this human body when it's time, when our graduation comes. And there was a great book called Life Before Life, and talk all about preparing for this incoming life. But when you have a skill set in your lifetime this time, it's as we said, you perfected that in other lifetimes. Even relationships with people, we talk about having karma with them. But I know, everybody knows, there are certain people you have a connection with immediately when you meet them. I know, Kelly, with you and I, we met immediately. We had a connection immediately. And there are some people who just know it. I remember my first marriage. I met my wife at the time in college. And I remember I was working on a musical play in the college. And this woman walked out on the stage. And I said, "Oh, I'm going to marry her." I was 18. I'm going to marry her one day. I just knew it. And it was such a connection. And it was a
recognition.
It was a soul recognition.
Yeah.
A soul recognition is exactly what it was. And I think we have those throughout our lives. When we did end up getting married, there's an agreement, if you will, between souls that you'll meet at a certain time in life, at a certain age, to fulfill your soul's destiny.
Yes, absolutely. For me, James, it's really interesting. And maybe you've had this experience, and I wonder if other people have had this experience. For me, if certain voices, I hear a voice and I immediately say, I know this person.
Yes.
I don't know if it's because I'm clairvoyant or something, or clairaudient. I don't know what it is, James, but it's happened to me on many occasions where I'll hear the voice, never seen them in my life, and I know this person from a previous life.
Interesting. I know it when I look in their eyes and it just happen to.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
And I know if they're a friend or foe. I know if they were, and that's, I remember, everybody, friend or foe, you've learned from both, right? And I would get away from the judgment part of it, because it's all learning, whether it's positive or negative, it's all learning, and how you handle certain situations. That's destiny as well. And the more I think one knows oneself, the better they can make the right choices for themselves. But I do believe that. And I just, when I look at their eyes, I know it, or I see them, and I feel that energy, I know right away. My friend Katie, I was with for a while. Remember my friend Katie?
Yes, I do.
The moment I met her at my front door, we looked at each other's eyes. A friend brought her to the house, never met her before. And we looked at each other's eyes, and we knew each other. We knew each other. And she said to me, "It's good to see you again." I was like,
wow.
And we couldn't explain it to people, because we just got along so well, and we understood each other pretty well. And that was really comfortable. Can I say it that way? Yeah. Comfortable. And even doing the work, our spiritual work, I mean, in our own lives, I've met practitioners who I know. I've met Dr. Brian Weiss, I've worked with before. I know Brian and I have had many lifetimes together, whether it was monastic lives or mission lives or whatever it was. And many people, friends, and it's interesting, because I love the saying that a soul comes into your life for a season, a reason, or a lifetime. And I really subscribe to
I believe that. And, James, it's funny. We just had Mother's Day, and I wrote a little piece about Mother's Day, because for Mother's Day, a lot of people, in my case, I had a really wonderful mother. But in many cases, the relationship is so complicated. And can it be from past lives that it's complicated?
Yes. And family dynamics. I mean, we take on different roles in each lifetime. So it's so much like a play. One lifetime you'll be the grandmother. One lifetime you'll be the mother. One time you'll be the son that has an addiction problem. Yes. One there'll be someone who has suicide. There's all these different topics that we have to learn from. And we got to learn both sides of the coin.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
How would I be as a mother? How would I be with a drug addict son or daughter? How would I be with this? With a divorce, what's that all about? What about coming back with disabilities? Well, to me, with disabilities, it's someone who comes back. I don't know how you feel about this, but I've always said those are the higher souls. The higher evolved souls come back with a disability. And usually it could be karmic from their other lives. It could be that they've done something to someone else and they have now received that. But it also could be, because someone says just one thing, one facet. It's many different facets or aspects. It also could be that they've chosen to come back with a disability to teach those around them about compassion, kindness, non-judgment. Can I take on that? I did a reading for a young man, a woman, and her brother came through and he said, "I'm able to walk and run around now." And she said, "Wow, that's amazing." He said, "I wasn't able to in a lifetime. I was confined to a wheelchair." And she said, "Yes, he was. He had cerebral palsy. And I used to wheel him around." And he said, "I'm free of that now." And that was my lesson to bring to you and to everyone I met about non-judgment and compassion.
Right. So true. Well, James, tell me, let's talk about some of the signs that you've had a past life. Some of the signs. Wow.
I would find, a different way we consider past life. So one of the most interesting one, I think a lot of you all have had it. I was once going to, so many different ways. I was once going from Florida to California with a friend of mine. And I was very young. I think I just started mediumship, or I wasn't even sure about it yet, developing. And we went through New Orleans. And I said to him, "Go down 3 blocks and make a left. And there's a steakhouse there. And we're going to go eat there." He goes, "How do you know that?" So I just know it. And sure enough, there was. And then we walked around the city. I'd known that city. I knew New Orleans. I've said, "I've been here before." So
I had the same feeling, the same thing.
In New Orleans or other places?
New Orleans, not New Orleans, specific. Yeah.
I knew streets, I knew buildings, I knew everything. And I've been here before. Same thing when I've traveled around the world. There are certain places.
Yes.
Italy, I felt as well. I've been there before. London, of course. Rome, I felt every corner. I couldn't tell you where things were, but I felt very familiar with Rome.
Yes.
And also Greece. I was very familiar with Greece, which makes sense.
Oh,
So
yeah.
spend time
Totally.
there.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well,
And also,
one of the, I was going to say,
yeah,
one
what
of the
about you?
signs of past lives, if you feel a deja vu, I mean, a deja vu, like all of a sudden you might feel that something that you would have experienced, something that happened,
Exactly.
or you might have an experience that you have lived through this before. There's something there. Or maybe you again, you get triggered by music. Maybe there's a piece,
Yeah,
something.
I was going to mention that if you hear music, all of a sudden you're like, oh, I remember that, and it brings you right
Yes.
back to that. So Kelly, I'd call it a
Yeah.
soul memory. Yeah,
Soul
a
memory. Yes.
and there are things that activate those soul memories. Music, destinations. Also, I want to mention to people too. There are some people that come back with phobias. So like I had
Yes.
one with water, and I was, what is this? And I had a dream, and it was I was a merchant in a merchant ship. And no, I'm sorry. Forgive me. That was another lifetime. One of the lifetimes, I was a galley slave. And I remember there was like some, and I was chained up and we're rowing the boat. And I remember that there was like a wave and we couldn't get away. And I died drowning. And in this lifetime, I didn't start swimming until I was 13 because I was very, very afraid of water.
Yeah.
Very afraid of water. So there was that. And a lot of people that have certain phobias where they can't get on a horse. Well, it could be they find that in a past life they were trampled by a horse. Or again, certain people in your life, like you don't like them because you find in another lifetime they were a foe or an enemy of some kind.
Exactly. I had a client that couldn't drive up a hill. She literally, and in Los Angeles, she could not drive up a hill, James. And didn't matter what we did. We did all kinds of work with her to see if she could get her to drive up on the 405. I mean, just a slight incline. Finally, we didn't know what to do. So we found a past life regression, somebody that does past life regression. And she was taken, went into the regression. And it turned out that going up a hill in a previous life, she had been ambushed.
Wow.
And it was interesting. It took some time to work that out, but she drives now.
Yeah, and there are certain phobias one would have just like that. Also, I knew someone that couldn't put a scarf around their neck, could have anything around their neck.
Yes.
Because they were hung in a past life.
Yes. Well, also, what about burned at the stake as a witch?
There you go.
That's a big one. I mean, speaking your truth as a medium or as a clairvoyant or a psychic, that takes some courage.
It takes a lot of courage. It's learning a lesson of courage, for sure. And most people, I would think, on listening to this or watching this would be had those lifetime experiences, because it's also a community, kind of a mindset. It's kind of a common experience for those who would be drawn to this podcast. They would want to know more about life after death, past lives, so forth. So there's that sense of that soul memory is the best way I could describe it.
And also with that, it's really part of a spiritual awakening, if you really think about it, because you start thinking, oh, did I live before? Did I live before? And as you know, my backstory is I had a traumatic brain injury in the year 2000. And suddenly I started going into yoga positions. Like I never did yoga in my life, but I started going into these yoga positions, and then from my chakras and from my Kundalini energy, it started to come up and up and up. And the next thing I know, I have these past lives that are coming out of my system, and I'm watching them like a video, watching past lives. And a lot of the past lives that I got to see myself have, which were painful, many of them, had a lot to do with my siblings.
Interesting. And still to this day. So, and there are common themes that we have lifetime through life. And there are definitely themes that run through each lifetime. And maybe because we have to learn the fullness of that theme, but there are all these different types of themes, family being one very strong one, of course, that soul group, that soul dynamic, the family dynamic, and fear is a big one, sense of self. I mean, there's so many there. But again, I think of the soul, and again, as we do this podcast, things come into my head. And just had the symbol of the image, like of a rose, let's say, and that the soul is a rose, and that each petal is a lifetime.
Oh, I love that. Yes.
And if you open it up and you learn to open up different lifetimes, and the fullness of that complete rose are really a combination, if you will, of various life experiences. And again, not only on this earth, but there are many, many galaxies, millions of galaxies, if you will. And we can experience things we might not understand at this human level, because it's very, very different. I know I wrote a book and it was talked about light beings. It could be light beings as far as, maybe call aliens, whatever you want to call that. Gas beings, liquid beings, all these different types of being of life, different forms of life.
Well,
So,
if you do past life regression, you actually can have those memories that will come back from other galaxies.
Yes. And at the end of our podcast, or the end of this broadcast, I'm going to do a past life regression for everybody.
Yes,
So, because I think it's really, really
very exciting.
Very
it's important.
exciting.
Well, and another way that people can remember, begin the process of remembering past lives, is pay attention to your dreams. Yes. My granddaughter had one that was just phenomenal, and she was 3 years old. She's 4 now, but when she was 3 years old, James, she ran in the middle of the night into my daughter's bed, and she looked at my daughter, at her mother, and she said, "My father and my granddaughter have drowned, and I am with the pastor right now."
Wow.
And Holiday said, "What?" In the middle of the night, "What?" And she repeated it. "My father and my granddaughter drowned, and now I am with the pastor." Now, they don't talk that way, and they don't have a pastor, and they don't, And then Holiday realized it was a past life. So pay attention to dreams, because this stuff does come up.
Yeah,
especially with kids. Especially with children.
Kids remember from the age like of 6 years old.
Right.
I remember there used to be a TV show called Past Life, Children's Past Lives.
Yes.
You remember that? And the little boy knew everything about a military plane or putting planes together.
Yes.
He was 4 or 5 years old, and I used to fly that plane. Another one was a child said to his mother, they were crossing over a bridge. And he said, "Mommy, last time I was the mommy and you were the child in the back."
Yes. Wow. That's a big one. That does happen like that.
And you can definitely, through dream state, you can through meditative state. As we'll find out later, I'll do one. And I'm going to do it toward, and as Kelly knows, when I do these, it's kind of in the moment and spontaneous, because I don't know where I'm going to go with the regressions or meditation experiences, but bring you to a safe place of understanding. And anytime we do this type of work, you want to come from a soft place, not a hard place, not a thinking place, not a mental place, but really from your heart self, your soul self. And that's what we're going to do that in a little bit. And Edgar Cayce used to also, wonderful, the sleeping prophet, Edgar Cayce, used to work a lot with past lives and the Akashic records, which we're going to do tonight. I'm going to do a past life regression with the Akashic records. And really what that is, it's a soul's record of their lifetime experiences in Atlantis or Lemuria or here or other galaxies. And it was interesting the way he worked. There are certain maladies or sicknesses that people have. They couldn't understand why they would have these things. And he would go into a light trance state. And he would go to the Akashic records and look up that soul's record and find out what they had done in another lifetime, what brought them to this current day to bring this to the surface of their being, and what they have to do in order to learn from it, why they chose to have this malady, and really learn to how to take care of themselves, and what the remedy was to help alleviate their sickness.
Well, and I would think that would be the important part of knowing about a past life.
Yeah.
Is what you just
said. What are you learning from it? What
are you learning? What do you need to learn? Do you have a phobia? Do you have a fear? Do you have an affinity towards a certain place? I had a client, he was 19 years old, and he was obsessed with Japan. He wasn't Japanese, he'd never been there. He started speaking the language, and he lives there now. But that had to have been a past life connection.
And also, Kelly, you and I both went wars, and I was a general in many wars.
Oh,
and
yes.
There are certain places where people say, "Well, where do you want to visit?" And China, to me, I don't want to go to China. I have no interest in China. I have no interest in India. But you should be in India. What you do. I said, I don't have any feeling about India, and I think it could be that I've lived there many times, and China many times, almost like I've done that. It doesn't hold interest for me. And Africa as well. I've been invited to Africa. I have no desire to go to there. Maybe South Africa to do a nice drive, and my relatives are from there. But I have no desire. Certain places in the
Yeah.
What about you? Are there certain places?
I love India. I have such a passion for India, and I've spent many lifetimes in India, and I love India. I can't say enough about it, how much I love it. And I have been to South Africa. Love South Africa. I've been to Africa too, and I've been to China. But my favorite would be India. And I love Mexico. I feel such a connection to Mexico. Always have.
Interesting. Interesting. I know I've been to Australia many times
Yes.
in other lifetimes. I relate so much to when I go there. I relate to it. I feel like I'm from there, part of there. I remember that. North America here in the States, I know that I've had a lifetime as a slave, I know it very well,
Mm.
and a woman. I was a woman.
Well,
Um,
let's talk about that because people ask me the question all the time. Can I, if I'm a female now, could I have been a man? Of course.
Sure, you can. It's just I don't know. I just think of it as energy. I don't know
Yes.
your thoughts on this, Kelly, but thoughts of a certain female energy. There are certain things in our society that they'll experience being a female energy, and it will happen, and chemically as well, and also a male as well. That I think we take on a certain energy to learn certain lessons
Yeah.
based upon that sexual. Who you are.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
I
they're
mean, again, our
confusing.
soul is here to constantly learn.
Yeah, constantly learn. And it's interesting because it's so interesting because now we're having transgenders and
Mhm.
mixing of the pronouns. So what is that about? Well, obviously they're going to learn something about energy.
Just energy, right?
It's energy,
You're
learning about
right.
energy, interacting with other people with that energy, what they identify with. Now, could that identification, let's say they're born male, but they want to go to female, could that identification be from many past lives as a female and they miss that energy? I don't know.
It's interesting. I think that they're advanced souls, James,
Big
actually. I think
advanced
that
goal.
they're very advanced souls that come in to kind of blow up everything as far as the way we think, make everything different at this point. I was going to ask you, but what do you think about birthmarks?
Oh yes, I was going to mention that. Yes, I believe that the certain birthmarks, I think those that are very prominent, and I've seen people have scars in their face or a burn on their face or something in the neck. I've seen people have trouble with their stomachs. It could be, and many times it is, not all the time, but many times it is from a past life wound or when they were did
Yeah.
did something. I know one person who had trouble with their neck, and it was because they had a birthmark here, but it was also because they killed someone, beheaded someone,
Ooh.
and they constantly came back with headaches, which is interesting. But
Mm.
also the other opposite would be people that have certain scars in certain places because in a past life they were wounded. Maybe a sword went into their chest and they have a birthmark there. It was very much so. That does happen. Very common.
I wondered why. Yeah, I've always wondered why somebody would carry the energy of that, but they do.
Yeah, for a healing, I guess it's got to be a
Mhm.
healing of some kind. Or again, it's hard to say, could they be karma because they did it to somebody else? I think many times it would be that they were killed that way or left the body that way. And it might have a very traumatic
Well,
experience.
I was wondering, let's talk about that. If somebody passes in a traumatic way and they're having a regression, if they go back through a regression and they have a traumatic experience from the passing, how does that work? What are
Well,
your
so
thoughts on that?
as we'll do it today, you're looking at it as an objectively. So you're above the lifetime, or you're not in the lifetime. You're actually observing it, and you're observing yourself going through it like a scene of a play or a movie, and you're watching how you behave, what actually happened, what led to, however I'm going to lead the regression, led to where you are today. What's going on in your life right now, and it'll be from past life experiences. So, and even the people in your life. I do one regression where I talk about the different people that come in and out of your life. And we're not going to do that tonight. I was just told, but we're going to do something else. But it's going to be really about the different things we're learning. The soul is learning. And intensity. It's so interesting because time is such an illusion, and we in this three-dimensional world measure time. And every day I live is like there's no time, and things to me, Kelly, getting sped up faster and faster and faster.
Oh, completely.
You feel that? Now, is that
Yes,
because
very
we're getting
much.
older, or is it actually speeding up?
I think it's speeding up.
I think it's speeding up. I think it's really speeding up, and it's
Yeah.
so interesting how things shift and change. But again, the only thing that's real through all this, you can die from phobias and fears, but these fears you have in lifetimes, we come back with certain fears from traumas, from experiences of situations in past lives where we were killed or there was emotional trauma. And we sometimes hold on to that coming back with this lifetime. And through past life regression, and I worked with Dr. Brian Weiss with this, that, you can let those traumas go. If you see where it stems from, where it comes from, you're able to let it go. The first step of healing is awareness. So when you're aware of what it is, and then why are you holding on to it? What are you here to learn? That really matters.
It does. And forgiveness is a big
And
piece of
forgiveness
this
is
too.
a big one. Forgiving other people. And you'll find a lot of times in regressions, past lives, there are family members that did certain things that you have
Yes.
to forgive. And in this lifetime, you're forced to forgive them or have to forgive them. You're given the opportunity to forgive them.
During this period of time where I started seeing my past lives, I saw where one of my siblings, where I'll say the sibling went south, if you will, where
Yeah.
the break was. I saw that several lifetimes ago, and I saw that, and I never forgot it, James. And
Wow.
I had such compassion for seeing that, and I was so happy or glad that I had the experience, because then
Yeah.
I could go right to a healing place with it.
And I think everybody has that opportunity to go within and
Mm-hmm.
to really quiet themselves down and to really look at their lives and look at the dynamics of those in their lives and who they are and understand things at a deeper level. I think it's really, we are so much outside the body with society, with, tech stuff. And, we really got to go in, live from the inside out, not the outside in. It's the inside out. And the
Right.
more things get technical and, AI and all this stuff happens, we even stronger have to go in, because only inside is your truth, not the outside, the inside.
So true.
Yeah.
So
So
true.
I'm going to do a little regression now, I think, for everybody. Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be an easy regression in the sense that I'm not going to do music or anything, and I want everybody to experience what they're going to experience. There's no right way or wrong way to do this. It's just kind of soul memory. So I'm just going to use the sound of my voice to help you all. And as you sitting there listening to this or watching this, you can actually close your eyes, would be probably a good thing. I'm going to put my camera off. Okay. And I'm just going to use my voice to bring people in. So just close your eyes and get in a comfortable position. And whether that's in a chair you're sitting in or a bed or just lie down, as long as you can hear my voice, that's really all you need to do. And we're going to start with the intention that all of us are the realization that our souls have a human experience. You are a soul being. No way around it. You're a soul being. And we're going to bring you to a relaxation space. So we do that with the breath. And the breath is really a gift from God. For the breath really brings in that awareness, that divinity, the connection, the relation with that divinity. So wherever you are, just closing your eyes, be aware now there's perhaps a beautiful vessel of golden light above you and below you and all around you. And it goes up as high as you can imagine. It's limitless, this beautiful golden light. And as we breathe in through the nose, we're just going to set the intention of breathing in that beautiful golden light. And that golden light is an energy of connectedness, an energy of healing, an energy of potential of our souls. That we bring a lot of love from the ethers, from the universe into our space. And we just send that out there. And then as we exhale out of our mouths, the intention is to let go and release that which holds you back, that holds you down, that you are able to release fears, imbalances, emotional scars. And that's really going to be what the intention is there. So I will guide you and just let yourself be. Don't think about it. Just let yourself be in the heart. So closing your eyes and imagine that beautiful golden light all around you, above you, below you, front of you, behind you. We're going to breathe in through the nose and nostrils, that beautiful golden light, all the way through the body, down, out of the feet. And inhale. Good. And exhale out of your mouth. And let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Good. And inhale. Feeling lighter and lighter all the way in. And then exhale. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And just feeling lighter. Every part of the body starts relaxing. The muscles, organs, the face, shoulders, arms, torso, chest, legs, feet. And inhale. Feel the relaxation. You fill up with that golden light. And exhale. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. And with each exhalation, it feels lighter and lighter, as if you're floating. And inhale. Good. And exhale. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Good. And again, and inhale. Feeling so light and like floating up in the sky, just lying and relaxed. And exhale. Let it go. Let it go. Let it go. Good. And just keeping the same rhythm of breath, remaining the same. Good. And as you keep that breath, the ebb and the flow that is natural to your own breathing, imagine now that before you, you are brought to a beautiful garden, a spiritual garden of your own creation. Perhaps when you weren't conscious, you did it in between sleeps. And look around that garden, the flowers, the trees, grass, meadows, beautiful luminous golden light. Feel connected there. And soon you become aware of this being standing in front of you. And this being, as you look into their eyes, is standing in front of you. And this is one of your guides. One of your guides comes before you, appears before you. And maybe someone new you've never met before. Or maybe someone you're very familiar with. Might even be a family member. Just feel the love they have as they come here for you in this space and time. And the more you begin to feel their love, connecting with their eyes, you feel this beautiful sense of connection. And all around you feel this loving energy envelop you as their energy surrounds you. And as it surrounds you, you're transported then, as if you're floated, into this big building, this beautiful marble building, a land with beautiful architecture you've never seen before, not of this earth, marble. And you go soon into this room, this beautiful, long, extended room. It's so large you can't even sense the size. It goes up very, very far up. There's no ceiling, just blue sky. And you notice on the sides, the walls, are all these books, stacks and stacks of books. In the very center of this room, your guide leads you to a red velvet chair and tells you that this is the space, the temple of remembrance, the temple for your soul to once again recount, remember, and understand lifetimes from before. I want you now to look around the room and become aware of the other people mingling around, talking and discussing on the other couches and chairs. And you're by yourself in the center, and look at all the books, the stacks of books that go from the floor all the way up, as far as you can see, columns and columns of books, different colored bindings, reds and greens, blues and purples, different types of material these books are made from as well. So when you're ready, I want to look at all the different shelves. There's one book in particular that has your name on it, that you're connected with, that attracts you. As you see that book, that binding, I want you just to see that. And as you do, it comes off the shelf and gently flows down to your lap. Your guide assists you in bringing this manifestation of this book. Feel the weight of the book on your lap. Feel the connection you have with this book. For this book is a record of all the lifetimes your soul has experienced before. All different lifetimes. And when you're ready, and I'm going to count from 3 to 0, they're going to go through a lifetime from your past that really is meaningful to this current lifetime. There's something in that past life that is current. Perhaps you're still working on something, a dynamic you're still involved with. So turn the pages. Don't look at the pages. And 3, you're turning all the pages. Feel the lightness. Perhaps each page has a certain feel to it. And 2, you tune into one particular page. You look down. 1, you become aware of the year, perhaps, and the style of the printing. And 0, you're there. You go into the page in that book, and you see a scene of that particular page of that lifetime. Go now to that lifetime. Become aware of where you are. Perhaps you can look down at your feet and be aware of the types of footwear, if any, you're wearing. Perhaps a costume or clothing, if there's any, or bearskins, whatever you're wearing, become aware of that. And also now become aware as you look up of the surrounding, the area you're in. Is it desert, city, jungle? What is there? And what do you have to learn in that particular lifetime? What lesson? What is the main lesson that you bring into this current lifetime? No judgment. Just be aware. Your soul is learning. It's a chapter in your soul's life. Good. And thank that lifetime. Thank your guide. And now 3, turn the pages again. Turn the pages again. And 2, you find a certain chapter, a certain page that you're connecting with. And 1, that lifetime has something to do with this particular one. And 0, you're there, back in that lifetime, that page. And that page brings you into a lifetime. Perhaps you can become aware of the year, the time, the century. Become aware of where what was a certain country. And who were you in that lifetime? And become aware now of the type of footwear you have on. You can wear the clothing, if any, you're wearing. And once again, become aware of the scene. Where are you? Desert, city, jungle, water. Where are you? What is your mission in that lifetime? And also, what lesson or lessons from that lifetime did you bring into this current one to understand, to learn, to comprehend? Become aware of the people too, the lessons you have with them. Good. And thank that lifetime. And then one more, you turn around 3, turn the pages, go to wherever you want. 2, you stop at a certain particular page or chapter, you look down. 1, you become aware of a year, maybe the writing is different. And 0, you're there. Inside that page, that chapter, you become fully aware of that particular time in the past, a lifetime that is very significant to this current lifetime. Become aware of, again, as you look at your feet, are you wearing any footwear at all? Bearskin, sandals, shoes, and perhaps the costume you're wearing, or clothing, if any, bearskins, whatever it might be. And look around to the area, the environment that you're at. And then in that lifetime, who were you in that lifetime? Who were you, and who were the people you dealt with? And what were the lessons that you had to learn in that past life that you brought into this current life that perhaps you're still trying to understand or work out? Something to do very much directly with this current life. Good. And thank that lifetime, that awareness, your soul, and look up to your guide, and they smile from ear to ear. It's beautiful eyes as lights, and they thank you for being with them. They say this place, these Akashic records, are always there for your review anytime you need to experience it, whether in a dream state or a meditative state. It's waiting for you anytime. The Library of Remembrance, this beautiful hall. Good. And slowly become aware again of your physical body now, in this time and place. Your feet on the floor, perhaps your legs, your backs, your shoulders, your chest, your torso, your arms, fingers, neck, and head. And slowly, very slowly, open up your eyes and be one. There you go, Kelly.
Thank you. I got to come back.
It'll take a little bit to come back, everybody. That's fine.
It does. It does. Oh my gosh.
It's hard to do it
That
in
was
time, but
pretty extraordinary.
yeah. Did you have some experiences?
I did have an experience, and it
What
was
was like the number one?
otherworldly. Otherworldly.
What
It
was there?
was,
One main lesson that you
It
came
was,
back with?
yeah, it was about teaching. It was watching
Really?
me teach. Yeah, it was all about teaching and teaching from a different level and teaching. It was all about that. Yeah, it was kind of fascinating.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow.
Like it was more intergalactic, actually. I never had that experience.
I've had that before, different galaxies, different places and spaces. Well, and I hope everyone enjoyed that, because you can do that, and you can write things down as well, right? I'd say keep notes, because you might not remember them in half an hour from now even. So write those things down.
And the other thing is, if it brought up a lot of emotions for you, release the emotions, cry, or feel the emotions of it.
Exactly right. Feel it and become aware that you can always, the traumas are there, the emotions to heal. We do this for healing.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, thank you, everybody. And
Wow. Thank you, James. That was
you're
amazing.
very welcome. And now I'm going to rest of the show. We're just going to do comments, I think. Right, Kelly?
Yes. Yeah. So Laurel Davies says, thank you, James. It was a great experience. Scott Huff says, thank you. Julie Musterman says, the me that went in there was actually a little girl version of me, and most of the other lives were male. Very interesting and good lessons. Wow.
Yeah, male, we come back. So what are the lessons of being a male and what are the lessons of being a female? Yeah.
Oh, and Lillian says, I went on a white horse, then a ballerina, and then a nun. Well, that makes a lot of sense, actually, because you would have different lives, so many different lives here.
And that's all balanced, too.
Let's see. Denise says, nothing about my neck. So many loving gifts I cannot wear for a day. Okay. This started a new awakening. Great.
Good. Very good.
A TBA, you had a traumatic brain injury. Oh, I understand. Yeah, I did. Yeah, Denise, I get that. And it does start you on a great journey.
And learning from the inside out instead of the outside in. That's really the big theme tonight. Inside out, not outside in.
So Sherry Wiltbank says, what do you recommend, James, if you can't visualize anything? All I see is colors. You
don't have to see anything. Just perhaps feel it. And like a storybook, you could feel it. You can sense it. Sense what a lifetime would be. How would I be dressed? So you don't have to see them. You can just feel. These are just suggestions for your soul. But it's important that when someone says that they're not fully released into the heart yet. They're still in their head. And you can't overthink these things. You can't be critical thinking. You got to go into the softness of the heart, because the soul is tucked neatly behind the heart. And that's where you're going to find the answer. So feel your way through it. Don't overthink it, and get back to the breathing. It goes back to your breath to go deeper and deeper. With each inhalation, you're going to go deeper and deeper. Yeah.
Donna Marie says, whoa, thank you, James. Memories came easier than I thought they would. Very relevant to the challenges that I am experiencing.
Yeah. Challenges or lessons. Yeah. Just I call them, instead of challenges, opportunities.
Yes.
Excuse me. Opportunities to grow. There really are. I mean, all these lessons are opportunities. How is your soul going to handle it? Is it love or fear based? Your choices.
A lot of tears, a lot of emotions for people, James.
Yeah. That's true.
So, wow. Oh, Kathy. Yeah. Kathy Rodriguez says, I tuned in just in time. I felt I was a Civil War soldier, an Indian and an African-American woman.
Yes, I've had those same lifetimes, very much so. Civil War, a lot. When I was 18 years old, I sat down and, not 18, I was less 15, 16, and I was eating my cereal on Saturday morning. I was just doodling, and it was a Civil War soldier with a mustache, and I put it away in my art book. I was an artist, and I looked at it when I was my 26, and I was like, oh my God, I look like that, and it's me. How I look like now, with a mustache and the eyes, and with a Civil War hat on and uniform. So you can do that too by drawing. You can do that as well.
Oh, Renee wants to know, Kelly, can you be in an animal form?
Yes, easily. Very much so. Yeah. Why limit yourself? Sure. I've had people go back in past lives with dinosaurs and reptilians and fish. And yeah, it's very interesting.
Wow. Oh, well, you know, James, at one point, James, I have to say, I saw myself running in a jungle early on. And I was like, whoa, I don't know if I want to go down that road.
I've had that before with people. And I'm usually being chased by a lion or a tiger or some prey. And it's about survival that lifetime.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
That's it.
Soul survival. Yes, that's right. So grief overwhelming me. Yeah. So many times we get people who lost someone in this lifetime, and they find that in the other lifetime they went early, and in this lifetime they know what it's like from the other side of the pain or the grief, both sides of the coin. That's really what we come back to learn, both sides of the coin, if you will. Yeah. So, well, thank you, Kelly. Thanks everybody for joining us today.
Thank you, James. That was wonderful.
And look forward to next time we're together, and life after death and beyond. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.